Welcome to another episode of Rambling with Phil. I'm your host, Phil, and I like to ramble. So today's video is going to be a little different than all the other videos that I have provided. If you have watched my introduction video, you've seen me say that I'm going to tell you a little bit about some DIY projects. Well, other than my pre-vehicle checks, I haven't done any DIY videos as of yet. So today's video is going to be a do-it-yourself drain install in a bathroom sink. So keep watching and I'll show you how it's done. The old drain has been removed and now I'm going to put the new one in. This is what it looks like. This is the ring that goes in there, and it includes this rubber gasket on the back, and this just screws into the top here. Now on the bottom, we'll be taking this piece here and then putting it up into the hole, and then the ring will screw into the top of it to hold it in place. Now one thing that I like to do is to use this T+2 pipe thread sealant and put it on the pipe threads here to keep it from leaking. Now there is a gasket, there is this little washer / gasket thing that does slide on over top. And what happens is, what you do is to tighten this pipe onto the bottom of the sink, you turn the nut so that it moves up. And then this piece goes, this rubber gasket hugs up against the bottom of the sink, but sometimes the water will run down the thread, and that's why I use this pipe thread sealant. So this is what this sealant stuff looks like. It's pretty thick and gooey. It doesn't really dry, but it'll keep things from leaking around threads. So I've applied a liberal amount of this thread sealant stuff onto the thread. Now I've also applied some of this thread sealant onto the black rubber gasket as well as onto the nut ring to make sure that we don't get any leakage between that I guess the reddish gasket and this rubber gasket. I will also be applying some of this sealer onto the conical side of this black gasket where it goes up against the sink to also try and prevent any kind of leakage. So I've applied a fairly liberal amount of that thread sealer onto the top of the black rubber gasket, and we are about ready to stick this into the hole of the sink. So we basically just push this up like that and make sure this is turned the other way. Now don't forget to put the ring on that screws onto the drain pipe, the plastic one. So you pretty much just thread this ring onto the pipe, and then you finish tightening from the bottom with the nut. Okay, so one thing I almost forgot was this piece down here is threaded into the piece up here. So there are some threads right there. So you're going to also want to put that thread sealant over here as well, or it will leak. Now we'll do that, and then we'll screw this back into place, and then we'll finish off by tightening this piece here to the sink above by tightening up this nut. So we've put the thread sealant on here, and now we're just tightening it back up. So we just tighten it up like this. And we tighten it until we get some pretty good resistance. We don't want to over tighten it because we don't want to break the sink. So we have this all tightened up, and now it's time to tighten this onto the gooseneck. Now don't forget, there is this little gasket here, this thing right here, that you want to make sure that you have in there. Because if there is a little clog here, it will back up. And if that little gasket is not in there, you will get overflow and spillage into your cabinet. So we just tighten this up. We'll hand tighten it. And you may notice all this white stuff. Well, I also put that thread sealer on here to make sure we have a good seal between that little plastic washer. So we'll just finish up by tightening up using our wrench or our pliers. Now we just have to test it. Now don't forget to put your stopper in, because then we have to put this in, which is what will attach on the underside to your little pull-up knobby thing here that will adjust your plug. So all you do with this is you get back here, put this in. Hopefully you can see it okay. And with any luck, it works up top. So then we slide this rod here into this piece that comes down from the pull rod. And there's this spring-loaded clip here that keeps this rod in place inside of this down rod here. Now it's the moment of truth. First we check to make sure that this is holding water. We won't put too much water in there, because if it isn't holding water, we don't want to have to, we want to make sure we don't waste too much water. It appears to be holding water. So now let's go ahead and let it out and see if there's any leaks underneath. Well, so far so good. But now I'm going to clean all the excess thread liquid stuff off of there, and then we'll fill the sink up completely and then let it all drain and see if we have any leaks. So we're filling the sink full of water, and then we're going to let it all out and we'll see how much it leaks, if it leaks at all. Hopefully it doesn't leak any. So, of course, we tested the plug before and we know that it does not leak. The question is whether it leaks, whether the piping in the drain below the sink leaks itself. So here we go. And obviously we can hear the water running. Can't see anything because these pipes are not clear. So the first step is to feel under here. Because if it's going to leak, it's going to leak from this joint here. So, and then it will leak down. I do not feel anything wet down there. Next thing is, I feel here. No moisture whatsoever. Next thing is to feel around here, just below this metal nut. No moisture. Next thing is to continue upward. No moisture. Now, as a last check, I'm going to feel under here because this is also another potential leakage point. Also no moisture. Now the water is going to sit basically from this point down and hold water to here. So all this will be holding water all the time. If there's going to be any kind of leak, you should feel it at this point. But there is no leak anywhere throughout here. I do not feel any water at all. There is no moisture. So we're going to call this a success. We were able to do this in one try. So there you have it. We have a new drain in our sink. I hope you enjoyed this video of how to install a drain in a bathroom sink. I've done it a few times, and this is the first time that I've actually done it without it having any leaks. So I guess doing it on video was kind of lucky. Thanks for watching, and hit like if you liked the video, leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And you know what else? Check me out on Instagram at Rambling with Phil.